It was April 24th, 1994. I had a 12-year-old son. I was a single mom and got a phone call from the New Jersey police. My parents had been in a car accident on their way back from their country home in the Berkshires. My mom had been killed instantly. My father was in a coma. When he awakened, he had significant trauma. So for the next 14 years, I became his primary care coordinator. He passed away peacefully in 2008, but that's where my nightmare began. I had an estate to settle. Where was everything? I had absolutely no idea. My father, every 5 to 7 years, would type out a data locator report. And then he would update it by hand, and he would send it to us. And this is his data locator. And the last time he had updated it was in 1989. 5 to 7 years. That works in 1994, but he never got a chance to update it. So as I went through the data locator, I came to understand that between 1989 and 1994, he and Mom had changed banks, brokerage firms, accountants, attorneys, had gotten rid of their safe deposit box and gotten a home safe and didn't give anybody the combination. So the only thing that was valid on this list was his cemetery plot. Last year, I got a letter addressed to my father from John Hancock. And the letter said, "Dear Mr. Rothschild, you haven't corresponded with us in 5 years." Duh, of course not, he was gone. So it went on to say, if you don't correspond with us by March 31st, 2013, we are going to take the proceeds of your insurance policy and give them to the state government. It's called a sheeting. What's my number one question? What insurance policy? I have to prove who I am. I have to prove who my father was. I have to prove that he's passed away. And I have to prove that I am a rightful heir. And when I finally do all that, after many phone calls and many faxes and many emails, it turns out that my father had initiated a life insurance policy in 1939. And I'll give you a perfect example. Husband and wife, rabbi and his wife, from Connecticut, just this past year, bought a desk on Craigslist. And they got the desk home, and the wife was cleaning the desk, and she opened up the center drawer, and she looked inside, and there was a bag. And she pulled out the bag. Guess how much money was in it? $98,000. So she calls the owners, the previous owners, and you know what their reaction is? "Oh my God, we forgot." We forgot. But the message here is very clear. You have to know and you have to write down everything that's important to you. So let me give you guys a little bit of a quiz. How many of you have parents still alive? Raise your hands. Keep your hands up. How many of you can name the medications your parents take? Look around. Okay. How many of you have children? How many of your children can name the medications that you take? What we're talking about is intergenerational communication. It's so important. You need to be able to communicate what the problems are, what the medications are, so that when something happens, and something will eventually happen, it will be medical, but we had Hurricane Sandy. Do you know there are still people in New Jersey who can't get their claims processed? And you know why? They can't prove what they had. They don't have pictures of the before. So very quickly into this process of my trying to pull everything together, I jumped on the internet to see if there was anything that could help me pull it all together, and there wasn't. So I created a system and a process and a product that I could pull everything together. And it was really important to me. How many of you have children over the age of 18 that are unmarried? Keep your hands up. How many of you have their notarized healthcare directive? Look around. There's a law called HIPAA. And HIPAA says that when your child turns 18, they are legally, medically emancipated. What that means is they could be a senior in high school, living with you, you pay for everything, they're on your medical insurance, they walk out the door, they go down the block, they trip, and they fall, and they become unconscious. You, as a parent, have absolutely no legal right whatsoever to get any medical information or make any medical decisions about your child if you don't have a notarized healthcare directive that does two things. That says, my parent can see my information, and it's also, that's called a HIPAA release, and the other is a medical healthcare proxy, which says, if I can't make decisions for myself, my parents can make them. So just some things to think about as you go through your process of trying to pull everything together and get as organized as you can so that no one has to go through what I did.